it do? Oh, thank God for another edition of Live on Sunday, everybody. Thank God for another edition of Live on Sunday, man. It's your gracious host, King Crowder, back to you with another edition of Staying on Top of News. Of course, man, if you do not know who I am, my name is King Crowder. Real name is Terrell Crowder. Small town boy now in a big city. I'm so grateful to have y'all tuned in and checking out with me once again. If you're new to the channel, comment, like, subscribe. Tell me how you feel, what you think, trash, good, or bad, man. But while I'm here, man, I want to check in with you. Hopefully your week has been good. Remember, Sunday is your first day of the week. It's where you look back on how you did the previous 7 days. Anything you need to change, you need to modify, you need to add. This is the time when you need to do it, man. Sunday for me was kind of good. Stood out a little bit late, too much last night. Had a little bit of fun, too much to drink, I think, man. And I think that kind of got me today because, I was trying to get up, sleep, get up, sleep. So a little bit of myself was a little bit off, man. But as your day go, you bounce back, you get back. Physical therapy this week for my left leg, man. Look, ruptured Achilles is no joke. Grade 2 ruptured Achilles is no joke. Swimming pool, physical therapy, all that's needed to make my boy self bounce back, man. So it's been a slow process. I'm gonna tell you what I learned. Rehab is no joke because you by yourself, you in your head, you ain't right, you trying to get back right. It makes you really feel for professional athletes who have to lean on their body for money, man. I mean, leaning on this, having to do this, trying to rehabilitate myself has been a challenge. Working, doing a thing, leading families, still having multiple things go on. But I could not imagine my body being my temple and having this provide for me. So like I said, you go through moments in life where you like, dang, rehab sucks. So I'm just telling you, boy, bouncing back. We got a lot of topics to discuss today, man. I'm so excited to break it down with you, have an emotional conversation, and also shed light on what's coming down the pipeline. Remember, everything we learned, I'm here to educate you on. Some good, some bad, and different. That's the whole purpose of me coming to you every Sunday because I really believe that's really needed in our society that we're in. Before we chop it up too much into it, let me always tell you where you can find me, King Crowder. If you ever need something to get for yourself, things I wish my parents could have taught us, always in Amazon. Written by your boy, always. Things I wish my parents would have taught me is always available. You can order it and get it anytime. Also for y'all, the book of the week I always recommend for my people. Remember, we had a book of the week. The book of the week this week, I already read it, but I know a lot of people ask me. I've quoted a lot. Medical apartheid. A lot of times we mention things that happen in this country. We never mention why people are afraid to go to the hospital. We never mention why people, especially men, are afraid to go. This right here is strictly for foundational Black Americans. If you wonder why you have those questions, those tendencies, why people don't like to go, man, you got to understand back in the day when you went to the hospital, you ain't come home. So when you have those questions and tendencies, when you don't like talking about medicine, when there is a distrust in something, the first reason is not to say, why is it a distrust? The first question should be, why is there a distrust? What do we do to cause that? I'm not saying things ain't gonna happen, right? That's life. We get it, right? Nobody's perfect. But why those things tend to happen is more of an impactful question. Just like today's lesson, whatever's done in the dark will always come out bright in consequences. Why am I introducing with that? And I got the pictures of Umar Johnson and MLK. If you did not know, Martin Luther King files have been dropped this week. I find it kind of coincidental, right? We dropped MLK's files, but not Malcolm X because he's actually in court. Watch the game. Martin Luther King's files about his legacy, what got him assassinated by the U.S. government, and how powerful COINTELPRO truly was. Comment, like, and subscribe. Get ready to get into the classroom. Hopefully you learn something and you gain something from it. My first source I like to look at, y'all, Fox News. Always look at both sides of the argument, y'all. Don't go be one of them people that say, I don't read this, I don't read that source, man. Read everything. So in Fox News article, if you can see 49 pieces of evidence were released, detailed by COINTELPRO, headed by J. Edgar Hoover at the time. COINTELPRO was a program used to discredit Black leaders. I want you to remember this. The COINTELPRO program was so funny to me because it was used to discredit Black people in America, but they never target the racist individuals that we saw in this country. Like I always point out to you, Everything about America has to do with race, orientation, and religion. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody try to say it's something else. No, it's not. It's always those three formulas wrapped into one. But what makes it very interesting is that we saw in the documentation that everything we heard about Dr. Luther King, that we heard on podcasts, other people say, him being promiscuous, him being this and that, is all a lie. They were planted by the FBI in stories to discredit his legacy, along with other black leaders at the time. The gentleman that was in Williamsburg, Virginia, another pastor, he was used to discredit Martin Luther King. Other people were following him, going with him throughout the South because they did not call him a troublemaker. If you read in documents, we could take a deep dive. Mr. William Bradford was the author by James Earl Ray. The person assassinated him. We follow him, we believe, who followed Dr. King all the way to different parts of this country. He followed him from Dallas to Texas, and ultimately where his legacy died in Memphis. Well, most people don't know about the documentation, y'all. As we dive into it, I would give a deep synopsis. I want everybody to read about it. What I want to focus on is the parallels from what Dr. King talked about and what's going on today. Remember, Dr. Martin Luther King was fine when he talked about civil rights and equality for people. But what got him assassinated in this country was this. Shout out to this TikToker. Love this brother right here. Whenever you hear detailed information, y'all, send it to me. Send it to me on everything. I always read it, watch out what my subscribers say. But this one was really impactful. Take a listen.
But because Trump is all right, so I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but because Trump is upset about the Epstein files leaking, he has released the MLK files. And something I think you might want to see in here is, according to these files, Dr. King was planning the Washington Spring Project in the spring of 1968, where he was going to be demanding that Congress enacted $20 billion per year. That's $185 billion a year in 2025 in anti-poverty programs for the next 10 years. So that would have been $200 billion, close to $2 trillion, and what would have been reparations in 1968. He planned massive protests nationwide. They were going to shut down major cities. It was going to bring together the anti-war movement, the culmination of the civil rights movement. And he was shot and killed in 1968. Getting the idea that the $20 billion a year in reparations might have had a bigger part in the story than what they told you in grade school.
It always comes down to the money. I want you to learn something, y'all. No matter what part of U.S. history you learn, it's always about economics. It's always about you changing my life. It is always about what you do tends to affect me. The civil rights movement was a movement saying, if we don't have the same equal access and protection under the law, nobody will. That's what the movement was overall about. What it became dangerous is those movements that white Americans got in this country that allowed them to have up access above other people. When he said, we got to have that same thing, that's when he became a target. Whenever you focus on economics, money, resources, and you take something off somebody else's plate, it'll become an issue. You can inconvenience somebody, but taking from them always hurts his legacy. We always place Martin Luther King as he was a civil leader, which he was. But we got to understand, he was a young man growing at the time. I'm talking Martin Luther King was young, y'all. So as he was growing in his political career, as he was growing in his political aspirations, his philosophy radicalized, his philosophy changed, and what he wanted for Black Americans at this time was, hey, we must gain the same equal access, not just the rights to visit these buildings and businesses, but also the ability to subject and make our own legacy. Why does that matter right now, King Crowder? If you are a Black American in this country, you got to understand that right now that movement is re-thriving. The reparations movement is real. But this time, what makes it completely different and harder to ever stop the movement, it is decentralized. There is not just one person speaking on that issue. Now that voice is all around. It is a lineage-based, which it should be at the beginning, a lineage-based formula saying, hey, people from descendants of the slaves, us, have to get compensated for what happened, just like other aggrieved parties in this country. Until you make that happen, you will begin to see the same things happen over and over and over again. Why is it so important as it being released right now? It is so important because that is the last physical point that the great Martin Luther King got to before he was physically assassinated. The reason why this momentum is so eerie when Trump released that file, we know why he released it, right? Is because he doesn't even understand the after effect, the ripple effect coming from that. Dr. King's legacy was this, and movement is already on this. Now it's just going to continue to elevate and go even more. Why is this important? It's important because you got to be able to look back at history in totality. Whenever we hear history being said, right, it's plenty of Martin Luther King Drive, streets, but that bit of reparations is never being mentioned. As we look at the history books, it is told from one point of view. Now, with the internet, with social media, with everything being decentralized, everyone's perspective has to be heard. We are no longer having history anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We are having a discussion about these stories of America and how they affect us all. Next, this subject right here, man, I never like to get in the weeds and the messiness of stuff, man, but some conversations you gotta have, right? And this conversation is uncomfortable to me. It is, you know, and we don't have the same philosophy. We don't think the same. We think kind of differently. But one thing I noticed, y'all, is that right, wrong, or indifferent, you got to be able to speak on real issues. So I wouldn't be a realist if I didn't have a conversation about this. I'm gonna play the video, give my commentary, and give my thoughts in a second. Pay attention if you haven't seen it. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifa Tunde and myself until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal. My personal PayPal account is Umar the Psychologist at yahoo.com. So that's paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, paypal.me/UMARTHEPSYCHOLOGIST, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist, or hit my Apple Pay using my cell number 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. I've never asked the people for $1. I have never asked the people for $1 in my life. I've only asked you to donate to the FDMG Academy for Boys. I don't have any sons. I have 2 daughters. So the FDMG campaign is a selfless project, mission, and service to provide our boys with the education that they deserve. But right now, I don't have any money because my account was frozen by my bank because someone has been trying to hack into my account, hack into FDMG Academy account. So the FDMG Academy account is frozen. My personal account is also frozen. That means we're going to lapse on our utility bills. We're going to lapse on our internet bill. We're going to lapse on a lot of our bills at FDMG. The bank is not giving me a timeline as to when the situation is going to be resolved.
I have a problem with people that have a vision, right? And they expect you to figure out how they're going to make their vision happen. His vision is a wonderful thing, right? His vision is we have a school for Black boys that I want to create and I want to make happen. But there has been a mindset of, I'm going to ask you to help me and you got to figure it out. Nobody likes a beggar, y'all. Could we say that out loud? Nobody likes somebody that calls them and wants money. Nobody likes anybody that calls them and needs something all the time. You have a vision. You have been famous, widespread for over 10 plus years. You should have enough sources, things put in place where you have options to figure out what you got to go to, man. It is nothing worse than when you're going through something and then you expect me to pick up the slack of what you was unprepared for. Do not make your emergencies my emergencies. Let me say it again. Do not make your emergencies my emergencies. The best way to ruin a friendship, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, if nobody ever told you, call somebody and constantly ask for something. Remember, everybody has their own life. Everybody has their own things. Everybody has a lot more things going on than just what you talk about. Dr. Johnson has mismanaged everything he has going on. He may not see the writing on the walls, but he is going through an actual investigation. What he did with the prior funds, what he's shown with the prior things to make happen, that's what he's experimenting. And it's sad. It is sad to see someone that is so eloquent, so talented, such a brother that has so much potential, not live up to it. And if we don't speak truth to power and say that, that's what's going on. Your funds are being frozen in seas, brother, because they were produced in fraudulent ways. They are questioning what you did with the money and resources and what it has been spent and developed on. You were mentioning that something's going to go lap. How is something going to go lapse? It's not even a multi-use facility. We understand that you have the building. We understand that you have the concepts, but you haven't produced anything. Remember, men are judged by productions and outcomes. We're not judged by feelings. We're not judged by what we think. We are judged by what we produce. I don't give a damn what a man did with his education, his background. I judge you by your word, your character, and your actions. Your word, character, and actions have showed us who you are, brother. So instead of us fighting the grain, instead of pushing the Pan-African narrative that has completely gone away, you must understand, take your L, hold your accountability, and move accordingly. People have lost your credibility. That's what it is, man. So to be online saying, I'm going through this, I currently don't have any money set up, after you're doing interviews, after you're doing promo, man, it's just sad for real. But what it is, I want you to always understand something. People that are entertaining, people that are talented will get so many more opportunities, ladies and gentlemen. But I want you to remember, opportunities does not mean longevity. Umar is just like a basketball player to me. You have immense talent, you have immense amount of money to get money early on, but to have that money long term, to produce year after year after year, to be at a certain level and continue to produce and have certain things, it takes dedication, man. And we are just seeing the mark of a fallen soldier. Bold prediction. Umar could possibly get incarcerated. Misappropriation of funds, fraudulent activity, all that's on the table, man. If you ain't watching Tony the Closer, shout out to Tony the Closer, man. Scammers are real. And you have scammed a lot of people by what your actions have shown, right? You have said, I'm going to give you a product, but you haven't produced that product. It's a scam. I'm taking money from this. A, B should be given. That's just simple logic. But if I continue to take A and I don't give B and I continue to ask for more A, what else could it be, man? So it's sad to see the brother go out like that. It's sad to see him look like that, looking like he's in a constant state of fear. You know, he has children, he has other things going on. But you don't have to believe it, man. But just judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. And the tree right now is bearing some bad damn fruit. And the fruit is saying, everyone stop donating, man. I know he's entertaining. You can watch his videos if you want to, right? But please stop enabling the brother, man. He's going to have to face the consequences for his actions. 10 plus years of building and ain't nothing to be shown. That's a bad look, man. Any guy, remember, long term, talent will get you there. Hard work, dedication, and work ethic will get you there long term. And that's the bottom line, man. So as we continue to have this discussion, man, we got to learn. This brother right now is going through a lot of things. Hopefully he figures it out. I don't think he will. I think he had to sit down and do some time. And after he does that time, he'll have a more compelling story about a former doctor doing that thing, and which will be solid for him. Because he needs that discipline, man. And you don't have to believe he needs it, but just seeing his lifestyle. Like I said, judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, and I judge it by the end point, not by the beginning. And to cap that story, Umar, man, I'm rooting for you long term. But right now, I definitely think you got to sit down, boss. You got to sit down. You got to do a little nickel, a little dime piece. You gotta do this, man, because the scamming and fraud is at an all-time high, man. And I don't think you're helping nobody. I think you're hurting yourself long term. That's what it is. Next up, y'all, share the live, share the live, share the live. You know, as America goes through point and period, right? we're starting to go back to our original ways. Remember, history doesn't change and repeats itself. Right now, if you have not heard or have not known, there was a story done by TMZ of an all-white town in Arkansas. Why are all white towns, all black towns, all towns kind of dangerous, y'all? Because they control the narrative. Right now, our history books are dangerous because there is no outside point of view, and we have other organizations giving propaganda inside of do. So there is a story that I want you to see, and I want you to listen to it. Eyes open, and the message sounds good, but I also want you to remember, man, if I exclude something, what am I trying to get away from? If I exclude something, which I'm not mad about you trying to be exclusive, what am I trying to get away from? Take a listen.
No blacks, no Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills, in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labor, the women take care of the children who live here full time. It could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society.
This story, it's kind of funny to me. I got, you know why it's kind of funny, y'all? We already have sundown towns that are all white towns in America. It's kind of funny when you see stories highlighted like this. It's 40 families, right? But y'all, Arkansas already has them. Montana already has them. Indiana, Utah. A lot of these Midwestern places already have all white sundown towns. There's a book by James Lowe, Sundown Towns, y'all. I believe everyone should to read it. There's also a website that breaks it down. What they're trying to go against is that this mentality will be pervasive. You already have it in America because the spirit has never been broken, right? The spirit is still around. The spirit of the South will rise. The Civil War was not about slavery, that bull job. So that spirit is already around and active. The problem is they can't contain it anymore. They can't contain it. The spirit, the attitude, the mentality of segregation, the mentality of this and that, it's still here. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's always been around. The problem that they're having now is that the financial inequity is making it being amplified. Remember, back in the older days, national media contained stories like this and they couldn't go around so much. Now, you have people, anybody with an iPhone that can upload to social media, and we all know about this story. So this town in Arkansas by the Ozarks is not an anomaly. You can go to any place in this country and you will see it, especially in our small towns and our Midwestern cities. You'll see it a lot. There's a good saying that I want everybody Black American to learn, right? In the South, they don't care how close you are, just as long as you don't get too high. That means you cannot look down on me or do much more better than me. In the North, the West, you can do as good as you want, just don't move next to me. So no matter which way you go, segregation, racism, separatism has always been in America. It has never been challenged or disrupted because we don't challenge the ideology. The ideology, just like COINTELPRO did for Black Americans in this country, has to be targeted the same way with the same amount of energy. They got to say, hey, if this attitude and the spirit is pervasive, there has to be harsh consequences. Just like we do with the immigration thing. Laws have to truly be the same, not different based on race, ethnicity, and attitude. They have to be enforced, gone at, targeted, manipulated the same. Because what we have right now is we have a system where it's all different, right? And it's all different because people get to change stuff. And this goes back to another great story this week, right? The story in Arkansas was about a white town implementing this white philosophy. Did you know there was a story in DC about a police captain manufacturing the numbers and saying, just like the show The Wire, I'm going to juke the stats to make a neighborhood appear safe and another one appear bad. Pay attention, y'all. These stories all connect and relate to each other. We got to understand that so much of this stuff is going on in America. We just don't think about it from time to time or understand how pervasive that spirit is. Fair use.
For allegedly making changes to crime statistics in his district. Tonight, the police department confirms Michael Pulliam was placed on paid administrative leave in mid-May.
I want you to think about this. This happened in the nation's capital. In the nation's capital, a police chief manufactured and altered the stats. What are they doing in Montana? What are they doing in Chicago? What are they doing in these other places that we know have the same problem, same attitude, same agenda, same spiritual mindset? What you think about that for a second? If we know that a police chief has this much weight to make things happen, what do you think is happening in other cities? I'm gonna let the article play for a little bit, and I want you to give my perspective and my take on it.
Department confirms Michael Pulliam was placed on paid administrative leave in mid-May, a move that came just a week after Pulliam filed an equal opportunity complaint against an assistant chief. And the police union accused the department of deliberately falsifying crime data. News 4's Paul Wagner has the story.
Well, hi there. The DC Police Union is putting its allegations on the record tonight, claiming police supervisors in the department are manipulating crime data to make it appear violent crime has fallen considerably when compared to last year. As of today, according to the DC Police website, crime is down.
I want you to think about this for a second. Commanders in DC have removed the data and altered it to juke the stats. There's a TV show I will recommend everyone watch. It's called The Wire. The Wire is the single greatest TV show about crime, policing, and how we really don't want to fix the problems in this country. What he is doing in season, I believe it's season 1 or season 2, I'm going to juke the stats. I'm going to show during my administration that crime is going to go down. How is crime going to go down? We're going to increase soft, easy crimes, reduce heavy other crimes, and show that other crimes are happening more in other neighborhoods. Think about this. This affects real estate. This investment. This isolates who can get what. This changes the school system and curriculum. You have multiple people in the nation's capital that this happened to. So this ain't happening in Chicago, Houston, Miami, Dallas, Philadelphia, New York. Are we not overinflating crime statistics all across this country? If leadership has the ability to manufacture who is going to have crime stats, where is going to have crime stats, and how certain communities have crime stats, do you really believe that we should trust a system that is already shown that can be manipulated through human error? Hearing stuff like this, y'all, makes you question everything. I already have a questioning spirit because I like to know how processes work, what they do. But hearing this, it just makes me be like, damn, is everything good, y'all? As you read history, you already learned, is anything real? But reading how a nation's capital can have fraudulent behavior, you mean to tell me I can make this crime that was a grade A felony, I can make it go away by downsizing the charges based off a certain community or a certain thing to make my legacy appear good? How do we know this stuff happening everywhere? How? How can you trust any of these numbers without a review board. And if you have a review board, what are they doing? How do we know they're not overflating numbers of crime in Fifth Ward in Houston? How do we know that the crime is not much more in another community? How can we trust it? How is this not national news? Think about this for a second. That video has less than 100,000 views on it. It is less than 100,000 views about leadership in District of Columbia, cooking the stats, changing the books, changing the crime stats, altering the records, falsifying documentation, and there is less than 10,000 comments on it. Make it make sense. What I'm learning is this, y'all. The reason why national media has distrust among the public, there's no honesty. In my generation, millennials especially, right? There is so much dishonesty among national media. I don't think they ever catch up. If you are a young black male in this country, right? You do not believe anything you hear on national media because we know they have an agenda. We know that whatever you produce me has to be vetted, has to be proven, and has to be checked off by the people that invest in your news station. There is no more, or where's there ever been, chasing the truth. Because the truth comes with no feelings. The truth comes with no agenda. The truth comes with pissing people off. And all I'm seeing right now is that, who do we piss off? Who? Do we piss off disinterested groups? Do we have stories that are controversial that comes out? When is our last spotlight? Spotlight about the Catholic Church. That was controversial. That was groundbreaking news that was discussed before and murmured about. But coming out as a national story, tell me when the last time we seen something like that. That was 2003, 4, right after 9/11. Why isn't this story being front page news everywhere saying, man, we got to check all crime stats now? We already know that we've had police corruption. We already know that we have a racism with police cops investigation, right? Due to the cleansing, the shooting, the unarmed black man getting targeted. We know that, right? But why hasn't this gone as public? This makes you think, man. Hearing this is disheartening. Hearing this is eye-opening. I mean, a lot of people just not talking about it, but I'm like, man, how do you hear this and not be like, what the hell? It makes me go and like, wait a minute, man, is everything a facade? Is everything a joke? Is everything we learn not true? How? How? And that story hit me home, y'all, because it makes me aware that we really think we make progress, and we really don't. We really don't. We confuse convenience, access as progress. And what we don't understand is that a lot of progress that we thought we made, a lot of connections that we thought we had aren't true. I'm going to tell you a big connection that we thought we had, right? Growing up, we always heard the saying black and brown, communities unified. I will always support this. I will always support that. And what black Americans had to learn is that no, I don't support nothing until it affects me. Take this down. Write this down. People don't care about how you feel until you make them feel how they made you feel. Write that down again. People do not care about how you feel until you make them feel how they made you feel. Case study number 1. Fair use. Fair use. All my audio listeners, fair use. Let's take a deep dive.
With the black community. I've never been able to do that before.
This is a Hispanic male speaking on the parallels he knows with the black community currently.
Because I would hear them say things like, oh, we walk down the street and we get profiled and, cops will just suddenly stop and frisk or whatever just because of the color of their skin. And I always thought like, it's a little bit of a stretch. It feels like a little bit of a stretch. That person must be doing something, right? And obviously, I've never experienced that before. I've never felt that way before and stuff. And so I always thought like, ignorantly, by the way, on my part, thinking like, I think you guys are, because I'm brown, I've never felt that and stuff like that. I'm also a minority. But now, with us, it wasn't the cops. Cops aren't just randomly to go and checking. In the past, But now it's our turn, right? Now we feel it. Now we feel like, crap, can I just go down the street? Do I need my paper? You know, it's like, why are you stopping me? I'm a U.S. citizen. We're not doing anything wrong. And now we're being persecuted. And so now I'm thinking like, crap, this is what the Black community meant, you know? And I kind of feel bad. Well, I don't kind of feel, I feel bad because I never really could understand where they were coming from or where you guys were coming from. But I can assure you that now that it's here with us too, it's like, crap. I honestly, legitimately didn't think it was real.
So it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when I do it?
But it's real as hell. And it's obviously minority groups that are targeted and persecuted pretty much. And it's right now with us is because we're brown. You guys have had your turn when, you know, cops were just in bigger cities, urban areas, stopping disproportionately, you know, the Black community and stuff. And I just want to say, like, I guess now I understand. I think moving forward, there's going to be a little bit more unity because we now can see where you guys are coming from. Well, at least I can, you know. And so, yeah, guys, I just want to say sorry for being ignorant before, but I hope this unites all communities, not just minorities, and call out things for what they are, regardless of the race. Now,
I don't think it will unify, man. I think it's going to make him have more disgust. You got to think about this. What you said openly is that I don't think nothing affects me because it don't affect me first. It's actually a backhanded compliment when you think about it, right? No matter if I disagree with you, I got to respect what you feel. You just said openly, brother, man, we didn't think what you felt was real. Because it ain't affect me, it ain't real. You just complain too much. It's just too many problems. Nah, bro. The universe whispers before it yells. Always. So when you hear those comments, man, I don't know the gentleman's name. What it tells me is that reality is here. It's going to affect you now. It may affect you for forever now. And the sad part about it is the energy is not going to change. The energy is going to get stronger, stronger, and more stronger. You know what the worst part about it that you don't understand that? You got to come up with your own form of movements to protect yourselves. Black Americans are openly saying no more speaking up on any other issues if it's not our own. That's the scary part. I don't think many of my other minority groups don't realize yet. You will have to form your own form of classism, your own form of resistance, your own form of making things happen. There is no much more of speaking out of turn or other people speaking on you. That is the part that I do not believe they haven't connected yet. The connection part is that, yeah, you can be targeted. We don't have to say anything. And until you form your own way of speaking up on it, we hushed. We hushed, brother. We hushed because we know firsthand. You didn't believe me. I was the boy that cried wolf. What I said was overreaction. How you felt was true. What I said was false. Now, you got to understand the backlash and the mental change is happening. And I don't believe most people understand how the tone for Black people in this country, speaking for Black Americans, my people, is different, man. The energy is different. The social standing is different. The thinking is different. And they don't understand how revolutionary that is. It is revolutionary for us, but it should be scary for you. Because now you must lean on your other people to make things happen for you. And I want to ask you something. Do you trust it? Do you think it will happen? Do you think you can limit and say that these things that used to happen to us are going to change? Just the conversation needs to be had. And the reason why it's so important these conversations got to be had is that when people speak on how they feel, you got to pay attention, right? And a lot of times, you know, we have conversations. People tell you, one thing I'll let everybody know that was kind of true. I didn't think about it. You ever want to hear the truth from somebody? Have somebody ask them that they're not cool with. Get their guard down and start asking questions and let them speak freely. Shout out to Jason Black. He said, Let a white person ask you something. Most of them will tell the truth. Let's pay attention to see how he asked and responded to this question.
Like an older Mexican man won't let his daughter date a black man, but she could date a white man.
Because of the skin color. It's almost sad because they say para mejorar la raza.
Yeah,
that's what they be saying.
To better the race.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Fucked up, bro. They're fucked up,
So when my grandma moved to the city and my grandpa moved to the city and they met, my grandma automatically just seemed better because she was with this guy from Michoacan that was light skinned and white with green eyes. And she looked like Felipe, dark, short. And that she thought she was better, fool. Like, and I swear to God, for my grandma just passed, but she loved my nephew more than she loved my niece.
Wow. That's actually not funny when you think about it, right? That's actually kind of scary. It's the same thing I think what's going on with, like, when you talk to Black Brits. Colonization affects everyone different. If you've never had a Jim Crow or civil rights movement to stand up and position yourself only, you won't get Black Americans when we say something. That comment he made about what his grandmother said, that she viewed herself based off being Mazaharasa, improve the race, should be alarming, right? Think about this. Self-confidence, if I come out a certain way, you will tell a child or a person, I'm not good enough. I always think about that from a psychological standpoint, right? I go somewhere and I tell someone that just because how they look on their exterior, I'm not good enough. You know how much damage that will do to you mentally when you process that for a second? Just think about it. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to meet you. And when I talk to you and meet you, I'm going to tell you I disagree with how you appear. So everything about you ain't no good. Not your character, not your spirit, not what you stand for, not your energy, not your fervor, none of that. Strictly off exterior appearance. A lot of us don't understand. We call it Jim Crow in the United States of America. That is colonization and conquistadors in South and other parts of the world. They meant to change and alter your mind. I want to alter your mind to go against how a normal or regular person will think. Follow me. I'm going to make you think your skin tone, if it is darker or different, is not good. Think about that for a second. Before I meet you, before I know you, before we build or establish anything, your skin tone is the ultimate criteria as your value as a person. He said, his grandmother would openly say, one of the kids that has a different skin tone would be treated differently. Is that not a mental illness to everybody? No shade. I'm just keeping it real. How was that not like a mental disorder? For me to process that, accept that, move that, and teach that, something has to be off, right? That hearing that me say that out loud doesn't even land well, right? I'm saying colonialism affected me. Now the way I go about my skin tone and texture and how I believe affects how I treat you as a person. The reason why that's so foreign as a Black American, we have the spirit of justice, right? Is that just? Is that reasonable? Is that makes sense? Is that knowledgeable? No. It makes no sense to treat a person like that, not knowing them, not vetting them, not having a proper conversation. It's like when you go to the South, right? Shout out to 250 my city, 24017. When you go somewhere, people are going to ask about your family legacy, right? Where your grandma live at? What's your last name? What school your mama went to? Where they from? You know what they're doing right there? You might not know it. They're vetting you. They're asking you about your people, your legacy, where you from, who are you? Back in the day, you got to check that. You got to look at that paperwork and say, man, this match up? All right. That line up? All right. Does that check out? All right. It's a vetting process. We all do it to this day. We vet your value. We vet our friends. We see and we qualify. Once I vet you, I qualify, I see, and I learn what's going on with you, I can move on accordingly. What the conquistadors did to a lot of Latin America is they removed it. First rule of law, be lighter skinned or adjacent to white. Second rule of law, don't question or go against the grain about why that's preferred. Third rule of law, if it's not reinforced, we have a social engineering system reinforcing. Think about it. I have this conversation with a couple Spanish brothers today, right? Every single woman they consider bad looks the same. Same hue, same texture, same hairstyle. Name me the difference. There is no levels of women. You know, we have levels of tiers of women. Chocolate, brown, mocha. That's all considered Black American. None of our women look the same, right? Everyone has their own hue, variety. That's a preference that we love. In many white-dominated society, it's lighter skin, longer the hair. That's it. It's very rare that you see a variety of colors and tones being a preference. They are trying to recreate the same thing over and over. The same thing over and over. That is the craziness when you think about the white supremacists. You know what that is? Ideology. Remake, remaster, conquer, secure, keep the same. So when you hear that talking point from the Latinos, not all of them, right? But that mindset they spoke about, you have to understand that's the spirit of energy that was taught to Black people in this country. Black and brown is unified. We got all this culture. But now that the internet is around, right? The bubble is popped. Oh, you don't want me dating your daughter? Oh, you think that I was lying about social injustice? Oh, you thought I was making up stuff about how the police stopped me and pursued me? You don't think that you had the same consequences and it was made up? Do you know what that'll do for the social standing for a group of people? I think moving forward, it's going to do a lot. Of course, we can't put everybody in a bubble, right? We can't put everybody in the same vacuum. But what it's going to do is that the effects moving forward will be strong. The legacy of how you feel, what you think, will be pervasive. Good, bad, or indifferent, ladies and gentlemen. That is the new energy and the new awakening that'll be around. Next, thank y'all for chilling with me. Share that live, share that live. We rolling right now, man. We almost at an hour. Good Lord, I didn't even know we was flowing. I had a conversation this week. I made a TikTok live about it first, man. I don't think people understand that all of these programs being cut, all these things being gutted are going to have a severe long-term effect on us. And I don't know, for my generation especially, right, the millennials, you have the energy, I ain't going to deal with what grandma dealt with. I'm not going to be disrespected. We different from our parents. I'm not going to tolerate and deal with what they dealt with. Everything that I say is going to be different. Yada, 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 yada. What I want you to understand is this. The young bulls out in the street are going to be worse than granddaddy. They're going to be more disrespectful when you need them. They're going to be more calculated and on cold. You know why? The nation's program for housing assistance and time limits for Section 8 and other programs will be removed. Woodville, Washington, rarely has a chain restaurant catering gigs out here at Seattle events, from church to potluck to office. Delivery fees, she earns $18 an hour and is better than minimum wage shift. Even though it's not consistent, it helps her afford her government subsidy apartment, and her 14-year-old autistic sons lived there for 3 years. It's a cycle of feeling defeated and depleted. No matter how much energy and effort and tendency you towards social survival, Hopkins said, still, the 33-year-old single mother is grateful she has a stable housing. Experts estimate that 1 in 4 of the low-income housing and development in America are residential benefits. Hopkins is at risk of losing her home due to the restrictions in the HUD policies. Amid a worsening national affordability and homing crisis, President Trump is doing a detrimental job, is determining to reshape HUD expansive roles and providing housing alcove for low-income communities, which has been at the heart of his mission for generations. The proposal is going to change a 2-year limit on federal government signature rental programs. Let's read that again. A 2-year limit on federal government signature veteran-sensitive programs. At June congressional budget hearing, HUD Secretary Scott argues politics like these time limits will fix waste and fraud in the public housing and Section 8 voucher program. It's broken and is devastated for original purpose, which is temporary help Americans in need. The HUD assistance is supposed to not be permanent, but to move to restrict such key subsidies would mark a significant retreat in the scope of HUD's work. Millions of tenants move with the promise of subsidies of long-term housing. They were poor to remain qualified, so they would likely limit the tenants at a shift, which could devastate and destabilize the most vulnerable communities, unlike the events of high rents. New research from NYU could obtain an exclusive program saying that the cutoff would affect, I want you to think about this, 1.4 million households. 1.4 million households could lose their vouchers, largely working with families with children. This could be leading the household to evictions in many families, the report said. The broad time would limit a substantial disruption and dislocation, which has nothing but to cause interest in the housing program, which will abandon the pallets. A breaking from the HUD long-term purpose from helping houses the poor will jeopardize contracts with private landlords, who also believe they're feeling that the uncertainty of public housing authorities from Seattle to Atlanta announced. Let's read some more. Crisis. Fearing for a restriction could derail those in need of a self-sufficient communities, will limit their goals as how much HUD officials will be strong. Summary. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are receiving any type of benefits and you have been leaning on the government for any type of housing assistance, they are forcing you to couple up. The government is putting a program in place right now to say housing temporary assistance programs, you will no longer qualify for more than 2 years. You know that man that we used to talk about while grandma had to deal with him? Because there was no such thing as HUD or government assistance prior to 1968. People don't know that. So when grandma had to deal with granddaddy doing what he had to do, you will have to do the same thing. Every person out here saying family's going to be different, we are a different time. No, we're not. We are going back to the original forms. They are gutting, removing the waste of fraud from those programs that we once had. You will be forced to couple up. You will be forced to figure out. You will be forced to learn how to live and build with each other. People may not want to hear it right now, but these programs are meant to target communities where you talk like that. The community that they're building right now is showing in real time. All that free money, all that free land is gone. In my generation, the millennials, Gen X, this is the first time we're going to have to revert back to what older times were. Older times in America, there was no government subsidies. You had to lean on each other. It will be a systematic shift in philosophy. You know why? You will have to learn that the old mantra, go to college, get money, figure it out, ain't gonna be there no more. It's not. Bold prediction. The avenues that we have once selected that we think are going to be acceptable, right? The things that we once said are going to produce results are not going to produce results anymore. And it's scary because people don't realize that in real time, the perspective shift will have to happen. We can no longer preach, go do this. This is a safe option. It's no longer safe. AI is here. Everything that we once were taught, even in my generation, man, has to be challenged. Think about this, y'all. This will be my 10 years graduating from Hampton this year. Shout out to the Pirate Gang, 050 forever, right? In 2025, my son going to college, would I encourage him to go? I don't know. I wouldn't. Cost of tuition per year, $67,000. Times that by 4, that would be $250,000 before the age of 25. Do I think having $250,000 in debt before age 25 is worth it? No. It's not a good investment. Telling your young ladies to do it, it is not a good investment. As much as it may be a controversial take, we need to push you finding your person. Yes, We need to push you finding your mate. We need to push you finding a person to build and to grow with. Then you could possibly do the college, do that route. But the route we're going right now, where it's college first, then figure it out later, it's not going to work anymore. Subsidies are going to be removed. Government assistance are going to be gone. And all of the people we're pushing out into the workplace, how are they going to survive? If you are a man that is high earning, multiple income, doing well, boy, you're going to have 6 or 7 of them. You are going to have 6 or 7 perspectives that you can take care of, lean on, and help. If you're a man of means that has the money and the motivation and the time and the energy and the effort to make things happen, you can. And as scary as it seems, as much as we talk about grandma, how granddaddy had to deal with granddaddy, you're going to have to deal with multiple granddaddies. Because the brothers now are going to be super disrespectful. They are not going to be quiet. They're not going to be leaning in. They're going to openly remind you that the perspective of I don't need no man mentality is going to come back and bite you. I'm telling you, y'all, this is what's going to happen. The programs are going to be removed. You're going to need help because everybody's going to need somebody. And when you try to match up and pair up and mate with somebody, the mate is going to have a different ego, a different energy, a different perspective, a different way of going about it. That he's going to be bold, blatant, something about it. Granddaddy and them were gracious in what they did. He might have did his thing in the streets, right? I ain't excusing that behavior, but he's going to be more willing to listen. These young men now, why would he listen? Why would I listen to you when you blatantly told me I ain't no good, I ain't a man that needs to be provided for, I don't need to listen to your leadership, everything you say ain't nothing? You don't believe me? If it wasn't true, this wouldn't even be available. The T app is all about that. The T app is about women having feelings about men. The same type of man, right? But I want you to think about this. Once those programs are removed, can you be a woman on the T app talking crazy? What if that man see his face and know that you said that? What if his move of finances and things he can provide is gone? We don't understand how much of a new world we're about to be in. And it's a scary time because I really don't think people are grasping it. People hear it. They might hear the rumbles. They might hear the words. They might have a few comments, right? But they ain't understanding like, yo, this world is, it's scary how much different it's going to be in 5 more years. Scary. Because we are in the very beginning stages of the AI movement, the skill set being over anything. So everything that we have been taught has to be unlearned, relearned, and adjust to. And I want you to think about this again. We know that these programs are going to be gone. Can you have things like this that are open in the future, knowing that we're going to need each other? And the app is not disrespectful to men, disrespectful to women. It is. It's just, it's not like a negative thing almost, guys. I'm just thinking about this, man. I always tell people this, right? The dudes that have the most women don't have good careers and good jobs. The dudes that can date the most do not have the best career, good jobs. You know why? They have to have the most time. You have to have the most time. For you to juggle 8 different women, 8 different personalities, 8 different baby mamas, you cannot have anything going on. Women has to be at the top of your priority list. If a guy has above average sex in the most men, that is his focus. If he has nothing going on, that is his priority. As a man that has multiple things going on, there's no way I can do that. There's no way I can go on 5 or 6 days a week. There's no way I can go out and meet people. How? How can you do that? As a productive man trying to establish or build yourself, you can't do that. As a dude that is and has the time, it's not that you're just single. You're single and not doing anything. That's the truth of the argument. So when I hear conversations all the time about he's this, no. What he is who he is. If a guy has time to date that much, ladies, he's not doing anything else. That's the wherewithal of it. I'll even go deeper. If a guy can get out his bed while he's asleep and go pipe you down, he ain't got shit going on. If he's willing to drive an hour while he was asleep, he ain't got shit going on. That's the truth. If you a man that stand up, I'm not getting out of my bed. You think I'm getting out of my bed to come see you? You better call that Uber and come over here. I want you to just think about the mindset shift that has to be. So when you know you have a guy that's willing, able, and willing to do that, you have to know what else is he working on. Now, if that's the energy you want, live your life. But if you are actually on, I'm trying to find somebody, step number one, if a guy dates 10 or 12 times, he ain't got nothing going on. He ain't popping. It is what it is. I don't think that should be a secret. I don't think that should be something shocking. It should be something that's mandatory to know. That's my main thing and point about it that I think we all should be able to know and grow from. Oh, man. While I'm diving into this topic, if you ain't have to say that, man, comment, like, share to the channel. King Crowder on YouTube, social, TikTok, everything, man. I try to keep my names universal so you can have on it, man. And I definitely believe that we keep going on these topics, man. Next topic, man, I thought it was kind of funny, guy. I kind of touched on it a little bit when I talked about the college thing. I'm going to let some ladies discuss this topic, man. I want you to know, man, I personally think we need to stop pushing college in general because I believe the wave is kind of done a little bit. I believe it's still important for STEM. But if you ain't going for that and you're a little bit older, I think you need to stop pushing it. But what's coming out now, man, about scamming at these financial offices, and I think they've been doing it. Personally, let me go into my little rant before I go. As a student at Hampton, there was many times when the numbers was questionable to me. When the financial aid was this high and it was this low, looking back at it, I probably should look at the numbers and review it heavily. But I remember some things going on that made me even question it. But now with the live numbers, the screenshots, and things that are available, these young ladies are on to something. So I want you to pay attention and just listen. Shout out to the other HU.
Sorry, but ever since the Department of Education had to put a cash oversight on Howard in 2018, when I was researching the school and researching the financial aid, I decided that cannot have been a school for me because I needed financial aid and I needed my stuff not to be scammed. And I don't like fraudulent, sketchy stuff. I don't like when my people try to do me. And I feel like y'all keep getting done by your people. And I'm sorry to say your people is Howard University. 2018. They literally get audited by the Department of Education because of embezzlement. How crazy the embezzlement is going. The Department of Education has caught witness. And then 2020 comes around. You got employees embezzling, Ryan Johnson. And then 2021 comes around. And you got another employee embezzling over hundreds of thousands of dollars. Boom. Now it's 2025. Y'all are shook. Your financial aid don't look right. I'm sorry. Stop looking at a name. Stop looking at a brand. And I'm sorry to say, but sometimes our people will scam us. And Howard has been scamming kids forever. Like, y'all must be too young. Because I remember the moldy dorms. I remember them walking out. I remember them protesting. I remember them telling us that they had nowhere to stay. I remember so many issues with Howard University. That's why I never applied. Never, babe. Never, ever could have did that. Because you weren't going to play with me, my money, my housing, none of that.
Can we keep it real about something about Howard, y'all? Let me get my Tariq Nasheed hat on. Howard been Tetherpalooza for a minute. Howard ain't been representing the culture for at least about a good 20 years. When Howard opened himself up to multicultural, Howard don't represent none. Howard been having scam problems. Howard been having issues. It's not nothing new. It is a culture of the college program. I think it's happening in more universities than we can name. I think Howard is the biggest name because it's a big, mark you could throw at it. It's like a big landmark of what it used to be, what it used to represent. But now, I'm not surprised by any of that stuff. We know everything in life has a little scam to it. Doctor's office, food places, any type of business. I hate to be this way, that there's a little bit of sketchy going on, or you're trying to be a super for-profit. It's okay if you be for-profit. I want you to make a living, right? But when you try to get over on your customers, it's easy to tell. And they know that college is on the downswing, right? The ladies are keeping college afloat. But the one thing we know about ladies, they ain't paying back the debts like that. I hate to be like that. I got to lay on the pavement. Guys will pay you back because they feel a financial obligation. Ladies ain't paying you back. It is what it is, right? And they're the main ones going to college now. That's the truth. No shade. Not 100%, but 95.5. But let's keep it going. We know that these programs are going through a real transition, man. We know that they're struggling for funding. We know a lot of the colleges will not be the same in a few years, man. We understand the change happening in real time. So with the change happening in real time, the only thing I can think of is this, y'all. Is the philosophy going to change? Is the message that we teach going to change? Is the ideology about go to school going to change? Is the information that we received across the board going to change? Is what we learn going to change? Is what we say going to change? Is what we go about things going to change? Or are we going to continue to go about things the same way? You know what really is changing in real time that most people don't want to talk about? It's changing on our side. Shout out to the grassroots media. I love y'all, man. I watch you guys more than any other news outlet, and I stay abreast on things. What is changing in real time? Don't call me African American. I'm Black American. That's a change. Don't vote for the Democratic Party just by vote blue, no matter who. That's going to change. AI, that's going to change. We have so many things that are out there right now that is requiring you to pivot from your old perspective that everything must be unlearned, y'all. It got to be. And you know what the scariest part about it is that we're still talking about it, but the action part, shout out to the young fellas, they're changing. Young men are saying in real time that college is not the priority as it once was. 10 years for me, y'all. It is no longer a priority as it once was, and I believe those brothers are on the right side of history. They are. They're on the right side of history and say, let me try to figure this thing out before I go into $200,000 in debt. I agree with them. I believe that they are making decisions that will benefit them long term. We need to get back to the point where we make selfish decisions. Decisions that are going to serve you well. Not just because mama said it, not because it's just a thing to do. Everything must be self-serving. Self-serving should be what you are going to need in this new economy. What you are going to need to be successful. What are you going to need to live a productive life? Remember, your job is a means to take care of you. It's not who you are. What you do for a living does not replace the man or woman. It is nothing worse when you meet somebody whose career is everything. It's kind of sad when you think about it, right? I'm not saying not be excellent. I'm not saying not work your butt off. But I'm saying to be that person that you have nothing going on but work. You're different, bro. I work my butt off. Do everything I'm supposed to do. Willing to burn, pick up, to call, do it all. But I understand it's a job. We like to say it like it's a difference, man. Ain't no damn difference. It is a job. A job's opportunity is to make sure all their needs are fulfilled and completed. Period. In the discussion. Don't look at it any different. Don't think it'll be any different. Don't outlook at it and say how it's going to go about. It's just, this is not going to be, man. So I'm just telling you, when you make these decisions from now on, you must go in with that perspective. Moving on. Like I said, y'all, the media, the grassroots media, has kept us abreast on all the new changes we see coming down the pipeline. If you did not know, all young Black Americans, do not call yourself African American due to the movement going on and to the discussion of reparations. If you also know that all of these issues about race and things are coming up because we don't talk about them. The issues will continue to come up and continue to arise. Why is that so important? Any issue that's not discussed or talked about will continue to fester. All issues will fester because we haven't made a solution or talked about them. You know what else is going to continue to fester and be talked about, man, until you really have a conversation about it, man? I feel bad for this brother, man, but Dame Dash, let me talk about him for a second. Extremely successful, extremely wise, iconic status of what he did and what he overcame. What happened to him is that the ego got into it. Dame Dash is a perfect story about not growing as a man. As a man, you could be some way when you're younger, but you still got to change and pivot and grow with the times. But we see his struggles, right? I ain't got to disrespect them and go into it. We see what things are happening. What we haven't seen is the pivot. The pivot to change internally. When the pivot as a man begins to happen, you'll see the outside change, right? But internally, when your spirit, when you are a new man, when you are a new person, when you can hold yourself accountable, when you can be a different individual, your life changes. When you don't, same problems come up again. Same issues arise again. Same issues arise again. And what we see right now is that we know he's in debt going through his things. We know he needs money. That's why he interviews and does those things to provide for his family. But when you continue to go on here and act like something revolutionary is happening, saying like some of the options available, when we know, man, be transparent. I posted something today, right? People would rather say they're okay rather than admitting they're not. The first rule of law, y'all, to show true strength, I'm not okay. I need help. I'm not doing the best. I'm struggling right now. People don't realize how much that word will help you. Not saying you're struggling and you're not trying to do something right now. But let me tell you a philosophy I go by. If I'm driving and I see you outside of your car trying to get your car to working, I'll stop and help you. But if I'm driving, if you inside your car and the hood's up and you're not doing nothing, I ain't gonna help you. I'm not. I will help you go along your journey if you're moving with yourself. If you're sitting down, if you're chillaxing, hood up, and you wait for somebody to come help you while you're not trying to push and move something, no, I ain't gonna do that. I will help you anyway, meet you halfway. But if you don't even have halfway coming, nah. The best way to get something from me, right, is this. Anybody, I'm gonna give you a game. Hey, I'm behind on this. I already have half of it. I don't want you to take care of the whole thing, but if anything you can give would be helpful. I already got this motion going, but anything helpful that you can add on top of that will benefit me greatly. But if I come to you and already say, I ain't got nothing going, I need you to give me everything, I need for you to donate everything, hell no, I ain't gonna want to deal with you. Nobody wants to help you if you're not willing to help yourself. That's the first rule of law, bro. Men, women, or whoever. Help yourself internally. The rest of the people will want to love and support you along your way. If you're not willing to help yourself internally, you ain't gonna get that love, respect, and admiration on the back end. I'm telling you. That's just human psychology 101, man. And I believe that's what Dame is going through. He said Kanye threw him a lifeline. I believe that. Yeah, he's a great guy. Not saying everything I can say, but he agreed with it. Of course not. But I do believe intentionally what he's doing for his people and what he tries to stand up for, I do believe he has good intentions. And I do believe we are seeing the effects of that long term. On my last two topics for the night, man, I would like to have this creator speak on something. And it's controversial. But, you know, I do believe it needs to be talked about, right? So the last two things on the night, one will be controversial. And one has to be, because I'm tired of these last mofos to keep talking, but it got to be discussed. So fair use to this creator, fair use to her, but she's cooking. Let's take a listen.
Ain't no war on black women's weight. If you want to see a war on somebody's weight, go over to some of these other races and see how strict their men are when it comes to weight. A lot of these other communities, the women know to keep their bodies under control and keep their weight under control because they men don't play. Black men have given grace for a long time when it comes to addressing black women's weight. They just now really coming out and talking about how dissatisfied they are with the weight of the women in the community. It's 2025 and a lot of y'all are still stupid enough to think that a man having sex with you means something, that it means that you're desirable, that it means that you're attractive. And because a lot of y'all are so male-centered, even though you lie and say you not, you hold on the extra weight just to keep that butt that you think that you got, right? A lot of y'all have been past thick, right? Nothing about you is thick. But you got a bunch of low vibrational pookies who be lying and telling you what you want to hear all for the sake of having sex with you. And because you're stupid and you...
She's snapping. But let me go ahead and finish her thought too, man. Shout out to the creator, man. She did a great job. When it comes to, I understand weight is a sensitive issue, right? And I never like to dive into it because I think I could be a lot more physical fit. Let me start there. I believe I need to drop 50 pounds to get more toned up and fitter. 100% agree, right? But when it comes to weight issues and desire among relationships, it's kind of crazy how much that comes up, right? But I do believe, man, I know it's controversial to say, since that Kevin Samuels era of America Man, it's been a movement to change that. I know a lot more brothers are vocal about things than they were 10 years ago. I know a lot more brothers are willing to speak on issues and things going on. Now, the divide has to go between ladies, right? Of course. Like the divide had to go against men. How we going against FBA, other men, the tethers, it's happening in real time. Their own discussion about what they feel is happening. I don't believe we need to tap into it, fellas. Vote with your feet, not with your words. Anytime you want to do something to somebody, man, stop talking about it. Show it. Pulling up and showing has way more impact than me talking to you. A punch in the mouth will solve 10 more questions that you got to get. Stop talking. Stop having a conversation about it. Pull up and show, baby. Pull up and show. Put hands on foot. Belt on butt. That's all you got to do. If you want to see these things change, that's what needs to happen. When you talk about it a lot, you have a conversation, what you think about it a lot, you don't never see the change happen the way it should. And that's the reason why people that stand on business will always be more respected, man. And the reason why they'll always be more respected, because you have a whole lot of people out here that just talk. And they wonder why things don't pop for them. Things don't happen for them. The influence isn't there. The respect isn't there. And why nobody truly pays attention to them the way they think. And the reason why I mentioned it in those type of words, y'all, UK has a problem with that right now. I'm gonna tell you, keep 100 with you. Number one, I didn't even know there was such thing as Black Brits until Twitter, till TikTok. I'm gonna always say this: Black Brits gotta develop something, talk about something, stand on business, mention something impactful. Cosplaying, riding our waves doesn't make you original. And that's the problem y'all have, is y'all want the notoriety, but you ain't built, developed, or did that's the truth. You ain't did shit. And when you ain't did shit, you do not get the respect. Fellas, in the UK, if you're a Black Brit, be original. Stop talking about hip-hop. It's not yours. Not yours. You're trying to ride the wave of something that's been established for over 40 years. How can you be better at somebody that's already established it? It doesn't sound the same. It's not as good. I'm sorry. You have to create your own wave of something. You have to. Let us listen.
The UK, we basically treat Americans more than
the UK.
Like you'll never see Americans trying to fly out a UK streamer or a UK talent to help them promote an event.
It's easier in America, but there's less in the UK. But I still feel like they have that level, but there's less of us.
The UK,
that's kind of like the celebs though. They anytime there's like red carpet events or all these events, everyone's always like, the UK don't have real celebs or big celebs. Like I always see that as a discourse as well.
But I do think the UK needs to do better, because I do think it's a bit mad though that like the whole wireless is a UK, like it is a UK festival, and not to even support UK press or photographers, whatever, even like UK streamers as well that are actually trying or like even doing their thing, and then you just get overshadowed by the Americans. Like I think you could still have both. UK also, we're like, what's it called, sheeps. We follow, if Americans love you,
something,
then we'll also
I do have to agree with that.
Because y'all don't have the cultural reverence and impact. I gotta say something too, man. The reason why y'all don't have it, and this is gonna be kind of controversial, white people in the UK don't look at y'all the same. They don't. Y'all don't have that respect to say I'm actually Black UK, and white people in the UK won't understand that. They're gonna call you African or Caribbean. In America, FBAs are going to be called because we're a staple in the fabric. It's a difference. The difference is you're over there getting the wave and you'll ride. That's what most white people do, which we understand that. Y'all have to be creative and innovation on your own. You're going to a foreign country that you're not originally from, right? You're trying to implement your legacy to make something pop over in the foreign country when you don't have the cultural cachet or the influence. You have to invest and make something beneficial in the UK to make it pop the way we did in America. Just think about that for a second. You do not have the impact. Stop comparing yourself to the best. Start your own wave. Start your own movement. Start your own legacy and lineage going. You cannot compete with a giant that's already moving. Like I always say when I hear these conversations, man, it's centered around what we're doing. If you're focusing on number one, you're never going to focus on what you're building. First grade, you know what they teach you, y'all? Keep your eyes on your own paper. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Keep your eyes on your own paper, bro. Once you learn how to keep your eyes on your own paper, once you know how to focus on your own vision and building what you got going on, other people will not bother you. They're going to be inspired by you. And the reason why they're inspired by Black Americans, we keep our eyes on our own paper. We start wave, we don't follow them. We create our own culture, which is truly an ethnogenesis and spiritual awakening movement. We did not follow them. We created, we built, we established. In our culture, there is something called biting. You cannot bite, you must be original. You cannot copy, you must follow through on your own. Everything you do must be unique to you. Because if not, you get called out for it. You get called out for biting somebody else's swag, biting somebody else's flow, copying and mimic what they're doing. There is a culture that stands on top of that saying, no, that's not cool. And I believe a lot of other cultures don't have that. Then they wonder why, A, the results aren't there. B, the love and the admiration isn't the same. Or C, why aren't we getting the same development and love as other cultures? That's the truth. Make something original to Black Brits, not something original that we do. And on our last subject on the light, Shed Alive, Shed Alive. I'm going to go deep with a historical moment, but I believe this is an awesome visual, and I want you to see it, man. And it's something that inspired me in these modern events. Pay attention, baby. Pay attention. Pay attention.
We really let them white Indians sign our land over and force us out for them European peasants. Heard stories about them Black East Coast Indians. They sure can fight. Might be a problem for us.
Who are they?
They are tribes from the plains. White boys want us to teach them farming and some of the creek ways.
This how us creek stomp dance in the South.
Some came here as slaves. Why?
They descended from Indians captured in the 1500s. Then a 1600s law made them slaves at birth. Me, I'm Calusa. We got absorbed into the creek.
Where they get horses?
They got them from Spaniards that was here. Hell, a lot of them are the ancient Spaniards.
Make sure the Black Indians sign under freedmen. No land, if they're not by blood, it returns to us.
My father was a Creek chief. My mom is literally a Tuscarora clan mother. Why am I forced to identify as a freedman?
You do it, or you don't get nothing.
They want our help, but erase who we are. We'll build our own town.
Many cities such as Greenwood, Black Wall Street, Boley, Langston, Clearview, Rentisville, Grayson, Taft, and Tallahassee were all built by visionary Black builders in direct response to generations of oppression and exclusion. Across the country, Black communities rose from strength and self-reliance. Many didn't care to label themselves beyond survival. For some, identity took a backseat to protection. As long as their families thrived, that was enough. People often ask, why didn't they call themselves Indians? The better question is, why were they labeled Negro, a Spanish term for Black? They weren't Spanish, and many weren't even Black in the way we think today. Identity erasure was a calculated tool to strip people of their land, their bloodlines, and their spiritual connection to place. Those who knew the land most deeply were turned into labor for it. And yet, even when we built our towns far from sight, thriving on our own terms, that very success still bred envy and hate. This effortless growth, grounded in heritage and grit, would eventually trigger one of the bloodiest massacres on U.S. soil.
I don't want to give too much away about it, but man, it's an outstanding lesson. This is an outstanding lesson. I got my first semester with college, man. I got to go ahead and talk it out to you, right? How did we have the Trail of Tears and we ended up with many Black American towns in Oklahoma? What we don't think about is many of those Seminoles were natives to this country that were Black. They were labeled by Walter Plecker, and other paper genocides, renamed and reclassified doing the land allotments to take their land. What most people don't understand is this. Many blacks are already native to this country. It's not controversial. It's irrefutable. A lot of people are not educated on this subject because it is controversial, right? But as you dive into the subject, think about it. During the Trail of Tears, it was mostly black people that had to get migrated to Oklahoma. If you have never been to Oklahoma, Oklahoma has the most black towns in America. Black mayors, Black Wall Street, mostly black things that we see. As the film was being produced even more, that's where the center of ethnogenesis started. I believe it's a great read. I want more films like that to come out that actually break it down, because we have enough of the trauma film. We have enough of the emotional, etc., etc. But we've never had an actual historical breakdown. I believe it's going to happen. I believe we are moving in the spirit of empowerment. It's no longer black unity forever. It's black empowerment forever. You know, the conversations, the choices, and things we talk about are happening in real time. I'm so glad y'all got to tune in with me tonight, man. Hopefully you learned something that's valuable and important. Hopefully I gave you a perspective that you did not have before. Man, I'm here because I love doing this, y'all. Of course, I want to be verified and, you know, get money from this one day. I would love to have that as an additive, man. But I genuinely love educating and enlightening people. Why do I love doing that? Because number one, we don't have a lot of real conversations. Entertainment business is oversaturated. The life business, the real business, the opinion business is truly where the outcomes will be. So as we continue to move forward, I want you to understand, King Crowder, your gracious host, will always be here to shed light, give you real information, and to give you things that nobody else is talking about. Why am I here? This is what I love to do. No motivation, no objective, literally giving and perspective. Hopefully you gain something. Hopefully you learn something. Is all I care about, man. If you leave here learning something that you didn't know, I feel like I've done my job. And that's all I care about at the end of the day. I want to make sure that you come here a better man, a better woman, a better person, and more rounded. More rounded about the states, state of this country, the state of everything we got going on. Because the whole point of living is to unlearn, relearn, and re-educate yourself. It's your boy, King Crowder. Back with another edition of Live on Sunday. This is the last Live on Sunday you will have until NFL Sunday. Next week, I will give some bold predictions, man, because you know I love sports. I love it, something I want to do, along with us chiming it in on everything else. Remember, take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Call your mom, call your dad, check on your loved ones. Reflect, pray, and read. The next 7 days, I want you to be better than you were your previous 7. Remember, the last month of July, 5 months left in 2025. Make them count. Make them mean something. Check in. Holler. And most importantly, learn something, brother. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Listen in. Be aware of the merch. Order the book. Let me show it again. Things I wish my parents would have taught me. In any way possible, man. Support your boy. And I'm going to continue to drop this heat. Continue to feed the streets. And continue to give you this work that we should have done. I got a new light coming in that y'all add to the edition. I got some new things I'm going to order so we have a lot more motion around. Mike couldn't make it because he's actually in training, but you know it's all around, baby. Continue to enjoy yourself, family. And remember, you are special. Continue to learn, baby. King Crowder. Have to be down. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's it. Next time. Hey.